Before we jump to the video, I just wanted to say Happy New Year, and I hope 2025 is going to treat everybody well. I'm so excited for this next year. It is the third year of the channel, technically, and it is going to be an amazing year, and I can't wait to see what comes next. So let's jump right into the video with, last week I made a video discussing whether or not the Steam Deck, I believe, will survive 2025. And to quickly surmise that video, basically what the point of that video was, I don't think the Steam Deck is going to be a great purchase for most people by that point. And I made mention of the ROG Ally. And so in a very similar vein, I'm going to be talking about whether or not I think that the ROG Ally makes sense. Will it survive? Should there be a reason to buy it in 2025? The ROG Ally was one of the first major competitors to the Steam Deck when it first released a couple years ago. And by this point, the ROG Ally has made its place well in amongst the community of PC gamers. It is one of the best handhelds out there, though the original ROG Ally has some issues. Micro SD card failures, Asus's terrible RMA process from disclosed by and just completely torn apart by Gamers Nexus last year, which from my perspective was now 2 years ago because it happened in 2023 if I remember correctly. It is now 2025 when this video goes out, but it's 2024 when I'm recording it. Very confusing. Either way, the ROG Ally is seriously one of my favorite devices, even with its issues, specifically with Asus. If you're okay making the sacrifices and comfortable with knowing that there might not be a great repair process and you're comfortable doing it yourself, it honestly is a pretty compelling device to this day. It is one of my favorite devices to recommend, especially during those Black Friday sales we experienced, where you can pick up an open box Z1 Extreme ROG Ally for like $320 and a Z1 Non-Extreme for about $250. Those are some pretty steep sales. Unfortunately, at the time of recording, none of those sales are happening anymore. They're all back to open box pricing about around $400, and you can buy a brand new one for about $400 off of Amazon, which is the best deal out there at the moment for a brand new ROG Ally. But the used market is also faring quite nicely with devices anywhere between $320 and $400, which honestly is a great price, especially if you can stack yourself a Z1 Extreme device. Going into 2025, and with the next generation of PC handhelds already making its way out the door, especially with a lot of these boutique sellers like 1X Player and iNeo having released or going to be releasing products very soon, it makes you ask the question, should you buy one of those over the ROG Ally? And you might be able to make a case for that. But I think the ROG Ally makes a compelling enough case, even though it's going to be having substantially worse battery life than what comes out next, even in comparison to some current generation refreshes like the ROG Ally X, which will continue to be an amazing value, potentially assuming it sees a decrease in price with the next generation releases coming out soon. And hopefully we see a true ROG Ally successor. And if and when that eventually releases, that drops the price of these ones even more, because I don't see gaming demanding any more power than what we currently have at the moment. So I'm pretty comfortable in recommending you're pretty safe to buy an original ROG Ally Z1 Extreme, especially if you want the most performance you can at the time, because right now, I don't see it requiring any more power. The Ally X, with its extra memory for dedicated VRAM for the integrated graphics on Z1 Extreme chip, does improve performance. It is one of the most powerful handhelds out there right now. But it's not in any appreciable way. Yes, it does help some games run on the ROG Ally that did not run originally, but honestly, if all you're playing is esports titles, Call of Duty, Destiny 2, Minecraft, I guess, or Marvel Rivals, you'd be in a pretty comfortable spot. You don't need that much more performance. The difference between 60 and 80 FPS isn't going to matter all that much, especially when you're playing on a small little handheld like that. As long as you're hitting 60, I don't really see that you need that much more. And I anticipate the ROG Ally with the Z1 Extreme is going to be more than capable of doing that for the year to come. Even more so because of just how well optimized some of these upscalers are getting. With FSR 3.1, DLSS, all those upscalers are getting amazingly better in terms of their visual fidelity and the amount of performance they increase. Sure, DLSS doesn't necessarily apply in this instance, but the FSR 3.1 is looking to be quite good in a lot of the games I've seen it in. Now with frame generation too, it just also improves performance in games that weren't available before to be played on these kinds of devices, now can be. I just think in comparison to the Steam Deck just isn't quite powerful enough to realistically take advantage of most of those things in any appreciable way. Sure, it might help performance here and there, but you need a baseline of pretty okay performance to actually use those things and still have them look good at the end, because if you're using frame generation on like a 20 FPS game, that is very, very ugly looking. And that's what you might end up dealing with on the Steam Deck. But the Z1 Extreme equipped ROG Ally should be able to perform well enough that you could realistically be able to use those things without turning your visual experience into just a blurry, Vaseline-covered mess. So I strongly believe the ROG Ally is going to be more than likely to survive 2025. It will continue to be an amazing value, and assuming an ROG Ally 2 comes out this year, might even make it a better value, because even in comparison to the new HX 370 chips from AMD, which are amazingly more powerful in ways that actually allow you to have a high refresh rate experience in a lot of esports titles, but most of those devices are going to be very expensive. With tariffs coming soon, might increase the price on a lot of these products. And these older mainstays like the Legion Go and the Z1 Extreme equipped ROG Ally might make a lot of sense, especially on the used market. If you're a PC gamer on a budget and you want a portable solution, the ROG Ally might make a lot of sense. Sure, the Steam Deck would be more affordable, but it would be lacking so much more performance in comparison to new options and older options like the Ally, which at this point now is coming very close to being pretty much exactly the same price as some models of Steam Deck. And the Steam Deck's biggest claim to fame was value. And I honestly don't see it that much nowadays, that the Steam Deck being that great of a value unless you truly value that console-like experience. Don't get me wrong, I love the Steam Deck. I use my personal Steam Deck every day. But I bought it a year ago, and it was the best deal at the time. I criticized the Ally when that came out for being a bad deal. But now, prices got lower, sales have happened. It's now made a lot of sense to buy as a device. And I love that about the Ally. Steam Decks don't really go on sale that often unless one of their holiday sales happen, which means 4 times a year. And if you happen to catch one of the rare instances where they have refurbished Steam Decks in stock, those are also a pretty decent deal. But the ROG Ally has consistently gone on sale at least once a month. And the open box is always a mixed bag of sometimes there being a bunch of them in there and sometimes there's none for a week. So it's very important to keep an eye on this device, especially if you're looking to get one on a deal. At brand new prices at $600, I don't think it's a great deal. I don't think you should pick one up at that price. But if you find one for about $500 or $450, pick it up. But if you find one on a really good sale, if you can wait until the end, save your pennies and just count the time until you find one on a sale or find one on a good aftermarket site like eBay or something like that with good buyer protections, and it's for a good price, jump on it. I think that is an incredibly good value and something that will last you for the year to come and won't feel like out-of-date garbage in terms of overall performance at all this year. I don't think you'll be missing anything, at least for performance. I think you'll notice it in terms of battery life. These new devices have amazing battery life. Just take a look at the ROG Ally X. It has an 80 watt-hour battery. That is insane. That doubles what's in the original Ally. I think that's where this device will show its age the most. Its performance is solid. Its storage capacity, its memory, not the best thing out there, but it's still pretty good. It's not going to be the issue. The battery life will be noticeable. When you and your friends are getting together and having a little LAN party, all you guys have PC handhelds and whatnot, and you're the guy with the original ROG Ally or a Steam Deck, you will notice how much better everybody else's battery life is than yours. It is incredibly noticeable. Battery life withstanding, I think the ROG Ally makes a lot of sense, and I think it will more than likely survive 2025. I would love to hear what you guys think though. Are you interested in buying an ROG Ally? Did you just buy the original ROG Ally and are loving it, or are you disappointed? I would love to hear what you guys think down below. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. All the other social media garbage down below. And last but not least, have a wonderful day.